So then let's say this is more so for the text to understand. So let's say you found the problem, right? It needs front pads, calipers, rotors, wheel seals. So you could write it up however, you could title this however you want. Front grinding noise fix. Then you'll use ChatGPT, the GPT that we have set up for you, and you'll say, oops, R&R, calipers, rotors, pads, wheel seals on this. Let's just say, what do we have selected here? We have a 2026 GMC 1500. So now at that point, you can copy and paste this, but what I always like to do is, and I know the techs do too, is they read over what ChatGPT wrote them. That way they can make sure they have all of their information correct and we're not selling something to a customer that we didn't do. So let's say that we found that the caliper was sticking. The slide on the caliper was sticking. So let's say, just for training purposes, let's say get rid of inspection found right rear. Well, rewrite to front brakes. So then at that point, we can copy and paste this, the tech can. He can put it over. I always like closing out the, well, side note, I always like shutting down the terms of service. It takes up less space. So now, the tech can put it in his labor item name. And then if he needs 4.5 hours to replace it, and then he needs, 0.2 to burnish brakes. Obviously, we would have ChatGPT write this longer. Make this longer and then at that point, obviously we don't want this too long. And at that point, we have the estimate. And now obviously you would have the parts. So for the text, they would click on this blue box. They would click create a new part, and then in the part number line, they would click, or they would type out front pads, which we should already, well, maybe not, front brake pads, and they would put that in the parts, the part number. So then at that point, the service advisor, when the tech sends it up to the service advisor can look at the job and see, oh, it needs front pads. Oh, it needs front calipers. Oh, it needs, whatever the case may be. But then at that point there's no confusion in between what the tech needs and what the tech is going to get. Now, let's say that you need 2 front calipers. You're going to change the quantity to 2. Now, this is very crucial if you want the service advisor to be able to sell the job. All of the information within these boxes has to be in here. If I give you, for example, if I give you a box with R&R brakes, and then it's 4.5 hours, right? And I call the customer, the service advisor calls the customer and says, hey, looks like the tech got your truck in, found that it's going to need front brakes. It's 4.5 hours. Okay, well, what's going on with the brakes? Well, I can't really tell you because the tech didn't write anything up in here. You know, like, that's stupid. It's very, very stupid. So, with that being said, you need to use the GPT that is built for you, and you need to write what you found wrong and how you're going to fix it and what you're going to end up doing for that service. The more information within the boxes are key. The more information the service advisor has, the more information they can give to the customer to sell the job. So, once we have it all written up, I'm just going to continue doing this real quick. Whoops, wrong box. Looks like we already have those in our system. So we've Alrighty. So he needs 2 rotors, 2 seals, 2 calipers. And 1 brake pads. He would need 1 because typically brake pads come in a set. So now once that is done, all the tech has to do is, while it's in his queue, all he has to do is go up to transfer, and let's say Phil's the service advisor, transfer this over to Phil. Then at that point, what Phil would do is Phil would end up going into this job and say, okay, looks like the tech found out that it needs front brakes, slides are sticking, improper operation, causing uneven braking, acceleration component wear, front seals are leaking, etc. It needs pads, calipers, wheel seals, brakes. So what Phil would do is he would go into ecom, and then he would find all of the necessary parts. One thing we started doing in our shop is we are now using diagrams, even on the simple stuff. Diagrams from the front office to the techs is going to help narrow down what exact parts they're going to need, because then at that point, when we take the diagram out to the tech and say circle what you need on the diagram, we can go in repair link, click on the parts that they need, grab the part number, and cross them into aftermarket parts if we have to. And that makes life 10 times easier from the front to the back of the shop. So once Phil has it all written up, he'll make sure his gross profit on the parts is good, look over everything, make sure everything's good to go, send it out to the customer. He'll convert the service to a recommendation, he'll publish. Then at that point, he'll share it to the customer again and wait for approval. Then, once it's approved, he can go over and see how this parts just popped up. He can go over to parts, click on parts, and then obviously the vendors will be in here along with the cost and the sell price. what he'll end up doing is he'll end up clicking order parts, and then he'll direct order them, and then the parts will be on the way, and he can change the label to approved, and then send it back over to the tech, and the tech knows that the job is approved and parts are on the way. Wow. Another thing with the parts that are on the way, it says OTW. The tech knows OTW, which means the parts are on the way and they can move on to something else. So that's basically the whole process in a nutshell on a repair order. You have some other miscellaneous things, like you can go up here, you view financials on the job, your gross profit, your actual breakdown on your costs. Now you break down on your labor, gross profit, things like that. You can go over here, you can go to service specifications, basic information on a vehicle. Service history, which is a big one. You can click on the three dots, go to service history, and see if the vehicle has been in here in the past for the same thing, or see, when we did a service in the past. You can also click this history button and it'll do the same exact thing. Now, another thing that we always have is we have the techs always upload photos to the notes section, they call this. So in order to add a photo, you would just click add findings, and then the tech would upload the photos from here. It is very crucial that the tech uploads photos. That way the service advisor can get a better understanding on what he's trying to sell. Because I know some service advisors may be understanding on what the tech means when he writes it up, but other service advisors needs to see it and understand why it is written up the way it's written up, and they just have to put their eyes on what's going on with the vehicle, and it helps them. It makes it easier for the service advisor to understand it. So that is crucial. Plus, it is a liability if you don't end up taking photos. Like, we take photos of the vehicles coming in before we even do anything with the vehicle because of liability issues that we've had in the past. So that's something to really drill in your tech's mind is photos. You need to take photos of everything that is going on that you see that could be a issue in the future. So that is it.